I'm on the east side of the Blue Ridge, a couple miles from Sperryville, Virginia, and I'm parked here at an intersection. This is the intersection of Route 600 and 653. 653 goes off to the right, or to the left there, excuse me. This is 600, where I came from, up from Sperryville. You come up here, and I don't know, from talking to a couple people, I think there's a sign right there that says not to go any further up that guy's driveway. I guess it's okay to walk through there, though, to get to the park. So I'm parking right here along this stone wall, and right here at the intersection of 600 and 653. And I'm going to head up that way and see if I can find the entrance to the park. And if I do, then we're going to hike on up a couple miles up the river. Over here to the left is the Piney River. Going to hike up that way, and then hike in a big loop. I'll explain more as we get going. Tenth of a mile into the hike, I just walked past some houses on the left, and right here there's a gate and a no trespassing. This is not a public road. And there's the concrete sign pointing to the left, Piney Branch Trail. Here's a sign that says stay on the trail. This trail passes through private property. Help keep this access open. So, and somebody's put some nice big rocks down there to hop across Piney Creek. So back there where I parked my car is as far up the road as you should come at that intersection, and then come up here. It's a tenth of a mile, and look for this signpost here on the left. Here's what it looks like hopping across the rocks at Piney River. And the trail's right over there. Eight-tenths of a mile into my hike. The elevation here is 1130. There's where I came from. I've been following this old road through private property. It's pretty heavily posted too, so just stay on the road. Now when you get to here, you'll see that there's a driveway that veers off to the left, and doesn't look like it's had any foot traffic on it, and it's posted. And there's the Piney River there. It's the second time I'll cross the river here. So I'm going to keep going straight here across the river. And I haven't actually seen a Park Service boundary sign yet, but hopefully we'll see one here soon. Okay, so I slipped on some rocks crossing that, and my right foot went in. My right foot's soaking wet now, plus I busted my knee a little bit. Not too bad. It's a problem with wet rocks like that, they're super slippery. Anyway, as soon as you cross, here's the park boundary right here. There's a chain across the road, and there's one of the concrete Shenandoah Park signs, a few other signs. That one over there says backcountry. So I'm going to sit down here on these rocks and take off my right boot and wring out my sock and see if I can get a little bit of water out of my boot. One mile into my hike, I'm up to 1190. This is very easy hiking. It's not much of a slope. Anyway, I stopped here because you don't see a whole lot of these, although I have seen some. These are old concrete posts. That one's still got some iron embedded in it, and there's one over here on the other side of the old road here. So this was obviously some sort of a gate or chain off point. I'm inside the park now, but before the park was formed, you know, who knows. And just a few hundred feet past the chain off posts is the beginning of this stacked stone wall there, and it goes on for a ways. So this was obviously where somebody lived. I mean, that's a pretty high stacked stone wall there, and so that probably would have been some level ground there. And then up there beyond that tree, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there's another wall that they created, stacking some stones up. So I'm guessing that this was somebody's homestead up through here. And for now, I'm going to continue on up the old fire road. I increased the zoom just a little bit. There's another example of the stone wall on the opposite side up there. Here's the one right next to the trail. Then that would have been fairly flat, and then that wall up there would have kept helped keep the side of the mountain from coming down. .7 miles into my hike. I'm up to 1275. That's where I came from. I just crossed this Piney River again. Here's what it looks like. That's looking downstream. There's the crossing. There's looking upstream. I managed to get across there without slipping. That might not look very slippery, but believe me, it is super slippery when you've got little rocks like that you have to step on, and they're only sticking out of the water a couple inches like that. It means that the whole rock is saturated with water, and you get this moss that grows on there, and also this crystal clear slime. So when you see something like that, you got to really be careful. I've slipped a bunch of times on rocks like that. And for now, we're going to continue up the side of the mountain on the trail right here. .9 miles into my hike, I'm up to 1,310 feet elevation. And here's a bunch of more stacked stone wall. It's not that hot today, but man, it is incredibly humid. Wow. Feels like I'm in a jungle somewhere. Well, I am in a jungle. But there's the wall, it just keeps on going. Here, I'll take a little stroll here. Last time I tried to do this, showing you the extent of a wall, I almost stepped on a rattlesnake, so I'm going to be looking a little bit where I'm stepping. But I mean, you know, see there, the wall is kind of falling down. It's not that heavy, or I mean, it's not that tall. Sorry for the jerky camera, but it's muddy, and wait a minute, let me get over here. See, there's even more of it, just keeps on going. A lot of walls up in through here. Evidence that people used to live up here before the park was formed. Of course, when they created the park, everybody got kicked off their land. .1 miles into my hike, I'm up to a 1340 elevation, and this is the intersection where the old Hull School, H-U-L-L, Hull School Road comes across from the saddle of a mountain over here to the left, and crosses here, and then goes across the Piney River over there. Now, when you read those bands don't say anything about this little trail here to the left. But according to my old Geologic Survey maps and the maps in my GPS, this is the old road. So I'm going to turn left here and bushwhack up this way a little bit. Hopefully it won't be too bad. If it's too bad, I'll have to come back and go to plan B. But anyway, I'm going to head this way. I've got to get up over there's a saddle in between two mountain peaks up here. Maybe around, I don't know, 1900 feet elevation. And then down the other side of the saddle down to the Thornton River, which is where I'm headed. So we'll go this way to the left and we'll see what happens. Okay, that little side trail totally dies out about 50 yards to the left. It's just a campsite back there now, so I guess the original road is like totally abandoned. So I'm back out to the signpost here. So I'm going to continue straight on up the side of the mountain here for a ways. It says Hull School Trail this way or that way. So I'm going to continue on here towards the north and see where I end up. .5 miles into my hike, I'm up to 1,530 feet elevation. Here's where I came from. I'm climbing the mountain up to the top of a saddle area. That's where I came from, and here's another bunch of stacked stone walls going that way, and then also over here on this side. Maybe you can see it over there too. For now, I'm going to continue on up the trail this way, up to the top of the saddle. .8 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 1620, and this is the high point of my hike. I'm on a saddle area in between two mountain peaks. Here's where I came from, and up from the east. And when you get up to here, if you continue that way, that takes you west down into Thornton Hollow. That's where I'm going. And then there's this trail here that takes you towards the north, and you can hike along the ridge line of the mountain for a number of miles. So I'm going to grab some water, and then I'm going to continue to hike to the west this way down the saddle, down into Thornton Hollow, and down to the Thornton River. Widowmaker. .4 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1,320 feet elevation, and here's the next intersection. When you come down here, you want to head to the left, and then we're going to follow the Thornton River downstream until we walk out of the park. A couple more miles. Just stepped off the Thornton River Trail for a second so you could take a look at the Thornton River. The Thornton River has two major forks in it. I think this is the North Fork. This is the North Fork. I guess the South Fork runs down the side of the mountain, the US 211. And the North and South Forks meet. They combine in the town of Sperryville. That's looking downstream. .8 miles into my hike. I'm down to 1,260 feet elevation. Hiking downstream on Thornton River Trail. The trail's right there, and just beyond it is the Thornton River. Maybe you can hear it. And I noticed this area over here. Nice little cleared off area. Nice little campsite right here. See that? Really nice. That tree there, from the tree right there to the next tree. Nice place to hang hammocks. It's fairly flat here. There's lots of pine needles down, so it should be fairly soft. You got plenty of water over there. And this is pretty much out of the way. This is off the beaten track. This lower section of the Thornton River, I don't think that many people come down this far in the park. They stay up closer to Skyline Drive. So I'm gonna mark this spot. This is a nice little spot. .1 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 1235. And I've passed, since that first camp spot I showed you, I've passed some even nicer ones, including this one right here. There's the North Fork of the Thornton, right there. And look at this. There's another nice little area. Oh man, that's nice right there. Nice and level. Good spacing on the trees for hammocks. Whole bunch of trees here. You could hang a whole platoon on hammocks. Over that way's the trail, which is the old fire road. And even over there is pretty nice. But right here's a little right here's a little spot that goes right on down to the water. Look at that. Right there, you come up here. You got tons of shade right there. Man, that is sweet. I'm half tempted to come back here and this fall and spend the night here myself. I'm marking this one on the map. I'm a couple tenths of a mile downstream from where some people were fishing, trout fishing, and they said they were catching some little brookies. So this lower stretch of the river here be okay for trout fishing. Another rock wall. This one's along the Thornton River. There's a corner right there. Here's the trail I'm following. I'm almost out of the park now. A couple more tenths of a mile, I'll be at the park boundary. .9 miles into my hike. I'm down to 1,140 feet elevation, and I just walked out of the park. There's where I came from. There's a sign with information on it telling you what's allowed and not allowed. The road's got a chain across it here. Concrete signpost there in the middle of the camera. Over here is a sign that says U.S. Boundary National Park Service with a red blaze. And there's a sign right here that says Fire Road no parking. So if you come up here, you're going to have somebody drop you off. There's some more red blazing for the park boundary, and there's the Thornton River. That's looking upstream. And there's downstream. Very nice here. So I've got to continue on down out of the park, and I've got to complete my loop on a couple of gravel roads. I'll show you those when I get to them. Here's where I just came from, out of the park. I'm on private property now. That sign says no parking beyond this point. Vehicles towed at owner's expense. There's a mailbox, and I noticed right there is somebody's parked. Those might be the fishermen I saw further upstream. So what I'll do, and there's the Thornton River right there. So just for information, I'm going to, I'll mark this spot on my GPS because it looks like maybe you can drive up this road up to this point and turn around and park right here. .6 miles into my hike, I'm down to 1035 elevation, and I'm going to take a left here on this Route 653, which is a gravel road. Here's where I came from. It says dead end, Hull School Road. That way, that's where I came from. About a mile up that way is the park boundary. And so right here we're going to take, let's see. Okay, so that's Route 612 coming down here and continuing on straight that way. But we are going to take a left here on 653 and head back this way. And when I get to the end of 653, hopefully I'll find my car still there. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Thornton Gap 1994, and I hiked Piney Branch, the lower section, and also the lower section of the Thornton River. Over here to the east is US 211. Warrenton, Virginia is up this way, and Sperryville is just about a mile down this way. So right before you get to Sperryville, you take a right-hand turn on, I think it's Route 612, and then that turns into 600. You follow Route 600 up until you get to this intersection right here. This is the intersection of, this is 600 and this is 653. Okay, both of them are graveled roads. And right here, there's a stone wall, stacked stone wall, and you cannot drive any further up this gravel road in your car because there's signs saying it's private driveway, keep out. So if you pull over to the right here, up close against the stacked stone wall, you can park there as long as you're not blocking anybody. So that's where I parked, and then you continue on up on foot until you get up to here, and that's only a tenth of a mile or so. And if you go, there's a gate that goes up a private driveway, and there's keep out signs this way, so don't go up this way. Instead, you take a left and you go across Piney branch right there, and then you start up. It's an old road, and this is all on private property here, so just stay on the road. And then when you get up to here, what you'll do is you'll cross over Piney branch again, and then you'll find the gate showing you the beginning of the park. Okay, so then you just continue on up. Now this is easy hiking. It's along an old road, and the old road's in pretty good shape. There's a lot of trees here, so it's not terribly overgrown with grass. And you just continue on upstream. The entire hike this way upstream, you'll be very close to Piney Branch. Now, when you get up to here, in my videos, you'll see that there's a post there, and I went off to the left thinking that I could get onto this trail by turning left at the signpost, but you don't. And the signpost doesn't tell you to turn left there, but I just thought maybe I could go that way because there was a part of a trail there. But the trail just comes down here a little ways to a campsite. So anyway, when you get to this signpost, don't go right and cross the river. Just continue on straight through the intersection, and then eventually you'll veer off and you'll start climbing the mountain here fairly steeply until you get up to here. And this is up around 1,600 feet. Now when you get to here, you'll see off to the right there'll be this trail. Now this trail goes on for quite a ways up to the north along the ridge of the mountain. Okay, so when you get up to the top of the saddle here, just continue on straight down the other side of the saddle. Okay, this is still an old fire road. Continue on down till you get down to here. Now when you get down to here, there's a four-way intersection. You want to turn left and start following the Thornton River downstream. This is another old fire road. Now there was this part here, this stretch along in through here looked like it had some pretty nice spots where you could camp. I marked two of them on my GPS, one about here and one about here. The second one I actually liked better than the first one. Okay, so then you just continue on downstream. Now when you get down into this stretch here, here's the edge of the park. This last, let's say, a quarter of a mile or so is where I saw people trout fishing. And I asked them if they'd had any luck, and they said, yeah, they caught some brook trout in this stretch of the river right in through here. Okay, so that looks like it might be a good place to try some trout fishing. Somebody, one of the locals, told me they don't stock they don't stock these streams anymore though with trout like they used to. But anyway, you come on down here, and when you get down to here, there's another gate showing you that it's the edge of the park. You walk out of the park, just continue on down the fire road. Now starting here and going on down this way, this is all private property, and this is all heavily posted. Do not hunt, do not fish, do not trespass, do not park. Okay? Now, when you get down to a certain point, and I didn't mark it on here, but let's say down around in here somewhere, I think you can drive up this way to a certain point, let's say up into about here, and then you'll see a sign that says don't go any further with your car. So you can come up this way, maybe to about here, and just pull over on the side of the road, okay, up tight against the embankment, and park there, probably, you know, day parking to come up here maybe and trout fish. But starting about here up to here, it's heavily posted, okay, not to park. So anyway, came on down to here. Now once I got down to here, I turned left on, this is Route 653. This is another gravel road. This takes you up a little saddle here to the top of the hill here, and then, excuse me, and then back down to my car right there. So I'll have to check my GPS. It was 6.5 miles, under 1,000 feet of total ascent. Not a real steep climb. So, and I did not run, once I left my car down here, I talked to somebody down here, once I left my car here, this entire 6.5 mile hike, I did not see anybody at all until I got down to here. There was 2 people down here trout fishing, and that was it. So it was a nice secluded hike. And that was the hike for today.